The discovery. The emergency alarm in Sector 7 screamed through the research facility's corridors at exactly 2:47 a.m. Dr. Marcus Chen sprinted toward the quarantine chamber, his white lab coat billowing behind him as security doors slid open at his clearance level. The night shift officer, Rodriguez, was already there, his face pale as he stared through the reinforced observation window. "Doctor, you need to see this," Rodriguez stammered, stepping aside. Marcus pressed his palm against the biometric scanner and the inner door hissed open. What he saw made his breath catch in his throat. A figure lay collapsed on the sterile floor. But this was no human. Her skin was a deep purple that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light, now flickering weakly like a dying star. Long silver hair spread around her head like liquid mercury. And when she turned those enormous violet eyes toward him, Marcus felt something shift in his chest. "Help me," she whispered, her voice carrying a melodic quality that made the words feel like music. "Please, I'm dying." Marcus knelt beside her, his medical training overriding his shock. "I'm Dr. Chen, I'm here to help. What's your name?" "Serafina," she managed, her purple skin growing paler by the second. "My ship crashed. 3 days without energy transfer. I'm fading." He quickly scanned her with his portable medical device. The readings were unlike anything in his extensive xenobiology database. "Energy transfer? What kind of energy?" "Bioelectric." Serafina's breathing was shallow. "My species needs direct neuroelectrical exchange to survive, like your breathing. Without it, we simply cease." Marcus's mind raced through possibilities. The facility had various energy sources, but nothing designed for biological transfer. What would normally provide this? "My people," she said, her eyes dimming. "But I'm alone here, light years from home." "There has to be another way," Marcus insisted, checking his scanner again. The reading showed her cellular structure breaking down at an alarming rate. She had hours at most. "What about other species? Can they provide this energy?" Serafina's gaze locked onto his with desperate hope. "Theoretically, any species with compatible neural electric patterns. But the process is intimate, dangerous even. The donor could be harmed." Marcus stood, pacing the small chamber as he processed this information. Every regulation, every protocol screamed at him to contact the research director, to follow proper channels. But those violet eyes haunted him, and he knew bureaucracy would take too long. "How dangerous?" he asked quietly. "I don't know," Serafina admitted. "It's never been attempted with humans. Your bioelectric signature might be compatible, or it might kill us both." Rodriguez's voice crackled through the intercom. "Doctor, I need to report this. Protocol requires immediate notification of the director." Marcus looked at the dying alien before him, then at his own reflection in the observation window. He thought of his late wife, of how helpless he had felt watching her fade in that hospital bed, of all the protocols and procedures that hadn't saved her. He wouldn't let protocol kill someone else, not when he had the power to act. "How do we do this?" Marcus asked Serafina, his decision made. Her eyes widened in surprise. "You would risk yourself? For someone you just met? Someone not even your species?" "I became a doctor to save lives," Marcus said firmly, unbuttoning his lab coat. "Species doesn't change that obligation. Now, tell me what I need to do." Serafina struggled to sit up, and Marcus moved to support her. The moment his hands touched her purple skin, he felt a slight tingle, like static electricity. "You need to maintain direct contact," she explained. "Skin to skin. The transfer works through neural pathways. It will feel intense." "I can handle intense," Marcus assured her, though his heart hammered in his chest. "Doctor, this is insane," Rodriguez protested through the intercom. "At least let me call for backup." "Lock down this sector. No one comes in until I say otherwise. That's a direct order, Rodriguez." A long pause. Then, "Yes, doctor." Lockdown initiated. Marcus sat beside Serafina, close enough that their shoulders touched. Even through his shirt, he could feel the coolness of her skin. What now? Place your hand here. She guided his palm to the side of her neck, where he could feel a faint pulse, stranger and slower than a human heartbeat. And I'll do the same. When the connection starts, don't fight it. Let the energy flow naturally. Her hand, cool and slightly larger than his, pressed against his neck. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Marcus felt it, a spark that grew into a current, electricity that somehow felt alive, flowing from him into her and back again, creating a circuit between them. Serafina gasped, her purple skin beginning to glow more brightly. Marcus felt lightheaded, but not weak, exhilarated even, like every nerve in his body had suddenly awakened. Images flickered through his mind, memories that weren't his, vast star fields, cities of light, faces with purple skin and violet eyes. "Is this normal?" he asked, his voice shaking. "Yes," Serafina breathed, her violet eyes now bright with renewed energy. "I can feel you, Marcus, your thoughts, your memories, your loneliness." The intimacy of it shocked him. This was beyond anything physical. She was inside his mind, seeing parts of himself he'd hidden from everyone. And he could feel her too, her fear, her hope, her fierce will to survive. And something else, a growing warmth that had nothing to do with the energy transfer.
The connection. The bioelectric transfer continued for what felt like hours, but was only minutes. Marcus's entire body hummed with the shared energy flowing between them. He could feel Serafina's strength returning, her purple skin regaining its luminescent glow. But something unexpected was happening too. Their thoughts were bleeding together, creating a connection neither had anticipated. "Your wife," Serafina whispered, her violet eyes shimmering with tears that weren't quite liquid, more like crystallized light. "Sarah, you loved her so deeply. I can feel the echo of that love, the grief." Marcus swallowed hard, surprised by the emotion welling up inside him. "I couldn't save her. The cancer moved too fast. All my knowledge, all my training, and I was powerless." "You're not powerless now," she said softly, her cool hands still pressed against his neck. "You're saving me, Marcus. I can feel my cells regenerating, stabilizing. You're giving me life." The circuit between them pulsed stronger, and Marcus gasped as new sensations flooded through him. He could see through her memories now, her homeworld called Azura Prime, purple skies and silver oceans, cities that floated on waves of pure energy. And her family, faces similar to hers but each unique, gathered around energy pools where they shared their bioelectric essence in communal harmony. "Your people do this together?" Marcus asked, fascinated despite the overwhelming intimacy of the connection. "Yes, it's how we bond, how we share experiences and emotions," Serafina explained, her voice carrying a note of sadness. "Being alone, cut off from the network, it's like your sensory deprivation. Maddening." Marcus understood loneliness. He'd felt it every day since Sarah's death, buried himself in work to avoid the empty apartment, the silent rooms. Now, connected to Serafina, he felt anything but alone. He felt complete. "I can sense your isolation too," she continued, her free hand finding his, their fingers intertwining naturally. "You've been alone so long, Marcus, afraid to connect with anyone, afraid of losing them like you lost her." "This is too much," Marcus said, but he didn't pull away. "You're seeing everything. All my failures, my fears, your desires," Serafina finished, her voice dropping to something almost intimate. "And I'm feeling things I've never experienced before, too. Your emotions are so intense, so raw and passionate in ways my people's aren't." The energy transfer began to stabilize, but neither of them moved to break contact. Rodriguez's voice crackled through the intercom again, more urgent this time. "Doctor, I'm getting pressure from command. They're demanding a sit rep. I can't hold them off much longer." "Tell them the situation is under control," Marcus replied, not taking his eyes off Serafina. "The subject is stable and responding to treatment." "Subject?" Serafina raised an eyebrow, a gesture so human that it made Marcus smile. "Is that what you are to me?" "You know that's not true," Marcus said. And indeed, she did. Through their connection, she could feel exactly what he thought of her. The wonder, the attraction, the growing protectiveness. "You can't hide anything from me right now, can you?" "No," she admitted, her purple skin flushing to a deeper violet. "And I cannot hide from you either. You must feel it, Marcus. This bond we're creating, it's not just the energy transfer anymore. It's becoming something else. Something my people would call an essence bond." Marcus's medical mind kicked in even as his heart raced. "Essence bond? Is that permanent?" "It can be," Serafina said carefully. "If we choose to maintain it, the neural pathways we've created, they'll remain sensitive to each other to a certain degree. We'll always be able to sense each other, feel each other's strong emotions." "That sounds like it could be complicated," Marcus said, but his hand tightened around hers. "Terribly complicated," she agreed, then smiled, an expression that transformed her alien features into something breathtakingly beautiful. "But also incredible. I've never bonded with anyone from another species. The depth of human emotion, Marcus, it's overwhelming in the most wonderful way." The door to the quarantine chamber suddenly hissed, and Colonel Hawthorne strode in, flanked by 2 armed security officers. His gray eyes were cold as he surveyed the scene. Marcus and Serafina still connected, still touching. "Dr. Chen, step away from the specimen immediately." "She's not a specimen," Marcus said firmly, though he felt Serafina's sudden spike of fear through their bond. Memories of experiments, dissection, her people's stories of those who'd been captured by hostile species. "Marcus," she whispered, "please don't let them." "You can't take her," Marcus stood, placing himself between Serafina and the soldiers. "She's under my medical care, and I'm invoking doctor-patient confidentiality." Hawthorne's laugh was harsh. "That doesn't apply to non-humans, doctor. Now step aside, or I'll have you removed and charged with obstruction." Through their bond, Marcus felt Serafina gathering her strength, preparing to fight or flee. Her newly restored energy crackled beneath her purple skin. "Don't," he projected the thought to her, hoping their connection worked both ways. "Trust me." "I do," her mental voice replied, warm and certain, "more than I've trusted anyone in a long time." "Colonel, as the senior researcher in xenobiology, I must insist that any examination be conducted according to proper scientific protocol. Removing her from this controlled environment could be fatal. She requires specific conditions to survive." "Then you'll document those conditions," Hawthorne said, "before we move her to a secure military research facility. You have 1 hour, Dr. Chen. Use it wisely." As the Colonel and his men left, locking them in but posting guards outside, Marcus turned back to Serafina. Through their bond, he felt her gratitude, her fear, and underneath it all, something tender and growing, something that felt remarkably like the early stirrings of love. "We need to get you out of here," Marcus said quietly, "before they separate us permanently." Serafina nodded, her violet eyes determined. "Together," she said. "Whatever comes next, we face it together." Marcus pulled her close, and through their connected nervous systems, they began planning their escape. 2 minds working as one, human ingenuity combined with alien knowledge, united by a bond that neither of them fully understood, but both were willing to fight for. In that moment, Marcus realized he wasn't alone anymore, and he'd do whatever it took to keep it that way.
The threat. The hour Colonel Hawthorne had given them ticked away with agonizing slowness. Marcus paced the quarantine chamber while Serafina sat cross-legged on the floor, her purple skin pulsing with soft bioluminescence as she meditated. Through their bond, he could feel her reaching out with senses he didn't possess, mapping the facility's energy signatures, counting the guards, searching for weaknesses. "There are 17 soldiers positioned throughout this sector," she said without opening her eyes. "But only 3 near the external maintenance tunnel. That's our best option." Marcus pulled up the facility schematics on his tablet. "That tunnel hasn't been used in months. It leads to the old research annex, about half a mile into the forest, but Serafina, there are motion sensors, thermal imaging. We'd never make it 10 feet. Perhaps a human alone wouldn't." She opened her violet eyes and smiled. "But I'm not entirely recovered yet. Through our bond, I can mask both our thermal signatures, make us appear as background radiation to their sensors. My people developed these abilities to avoid predators on our homeworld." Marcus felt a surge of hope, mixed with anxiety. "How long can you maintain that?" "Long enough." She stood gracefully, moving to his side. "But Marcus, once we leave, there's no coming back. You'll be branded a traitor, lose everything you've built here. Your career, your reputation, your entire life." Through their connection, she felt his resolve hearten. "My entire life has been about preserving life, protecting it. What kind of doctor would I be if I handed you over to be dissected and studied like some laboratory specimen?" Serafina reached up, cupping his face with her cool hands. The touch sent electricity dancing across his skin. "You barely know me, yet you're willing to sacrifice everything. Why?" Marcus covered her hands with his own. "Because through this bond, I know you better than I've known anyone. I feel your fear, your hope, your kindness, and because—" He hesitated, then continued, "Because I haven't felt this alive, this connected to another being, since Sarah died. I won't lose that. I won't lose you." Her purple skin flushed deeper violet, and through their bond, he could feel her emotions mirror his own: attraction, gratitude, and something deeper, something that was growing with every moment they spent connected. On my world, we have a saying, "Energy seeks energy. Essence finds essence." Perhaps the universe brought us together for a reason. Perhaps it did, Marcus agreed, then kissed her. It was gentle at first, tentative, but the moment their lips met, the bioelectric connection between them flared. Energy cascaded through their joined nervous systems, creating sensations unlike anything Marcus had ever experienced. He could feel her surprise, her pleasure, and the growing desire that matched his own. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathless. "That was," Serafina began. "Incredible," Marcus finished. "Is it always like that for your people?" "Never," she admitted, her violet eyes wide. "The intensity of human emotion combined with our energy exchange, it's intoxicating, overwhelming. I want—" A loud bang on the door interrupted them. "Time's up, Dr. Chen." Colonel Hawthorne's voice boomed through the intercom. "Open this door or we're cutting through." Marcus and Serafina locked eyes, their moment of intimacy shattered by harsh reality. "Now or never," he said. She nodded, taking his hand. Her purple skin began to glow more intensely, and Marcus felt a strange coolness wash over him, like being wrapped in invisible silk. "Stay close to me," she instructed, "and try to remain calm. Your elevated heart rate makes it harder to mask your signature." The maintenance panel at the back of the quarantine chamber was secured with a biometric lock. Marcus pressed his palm against it, grateful that his clearance hadn't been revoked yet. The panel slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel that disappeared into darkness. "Dr. Chen, this is your final warning," Hawthorne shouted through the speakers. The sound of cutting torches began to hiss against the main door. "Go," Marcus urged, and they slipped into the tunnel. Serafina's bioluminescence provided just enough light to navigate by, casting everything in an ethereal, purple glow. Behind them, they heard the quarantine door finally give way, followed by angry shouts as soldiers discovered their escape. "They're tracking us," Serafina said, her voice tight with concentration. "But so far, the masking is holding." They moved as quickly as they dared through the cramped tunnel, Marcus's heart pounding in his ears. Through their bond, he felt Serafina's strain, maintaining the energy shield while still recovering from her near-death state, was taking its toll. "How much further?" he asked. "Another 200 meters to the external access point," she replied, but he felt her stumble slightly. "Marcus, I don't know if I can—" "Yes, you can," he said firmly, wrapping an arm around her waist to support her. "We're in this together, remember? Share the burden with me. Use my strength." Serafina hesitated. Then, through their bond, Marcus felt something shift. She was drawing on his bioelectric energy again, not taking it but borrowing it, amplifying her own depleted reserves. It was intimate in a way that went beyond physical touch, like she was reaching into his very essence. "Better?" he asked. "Much," she breathed, and he felt her gratitude wash through him like warm waves. "You're remarkable, Marcus. Do you know that?" Before he could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. "Attention all personnel. Dr. Marcus Chen is to be considered hostile. He has abducted a valuable extraterrestrial specimen and is attempting to leave the facility. Lethal force is authorized." "Lethal force," Marcus repeated, the weight of what he'd done finally hitting him. "They're really going to kill us." "Not if we keep moving," Serafina said, her determination flowing through their bond and strengthening his resolve. They reached the external access point, a heavy door marked with faded warning signs. Marcus entered his override code, praying it still worked. The door groaned open, revealing the dark forest beyond. Cool night air rushed in, carrying the scent of pine and earth. For a moment, Marcus stood at the threshold, looking back at the facility that had been his home for 3 years. Everything he'd built, every relationship, every achievement, all of it, about to become worthless. "Second thoughts?" Serafina asked gently, though through their bond, he felt her fear that he might choose his old life over her. Marcus turned to her, taking in her purple skin glowing softly in the darkness, her violet eyes full of hope and worry, and made his choice. "Not even for a second," he said, taking her hand. "Let's go." They plunged into the forest together, leaving behind the only world Marcus had known. Behind them, searchlights pierced the night, and the sounds of pursuit grew louder. But ahead lay darkness, uncertainty, and freedom. Hand in hand, connected by a bond that transcended species, they ran towards an unknown future. Together,
The transformation. 3 days hiding in the wilderness had changed everything. Marcus watched as Serafina knelt by the stream, her purple skin shimmering differently now, less alien, more adaptable. The bioelectric bond between them had evolved into something neither could have predicted. "It's happening again," Serafina said, examining her hands as faint patterns of light danced beneath her skin. "My cellular structure is rewriting itself, adapting to your bioelectric signature." Marcus moved closer, his medical curiosity mixing with concern. "Is it painful?" "No," she said, wonder in her voice. "It's liberating. I can feel my body learning to process multiple energy sources. Not just bioelectric transfers, but thermal radiation, even solar absorption. Your essence is teaching mine new ways to survive." Through their bond, Marcus felt the changes rippling through her at a molecular level. "You're evolving because of our connection?" "We both are." Serafina stood, moving into his arms with a grace that still took his breath away. "Can't you feel it? Your neural pathways are developing new sensitivities. You're processing information faster, sensing things you couldn't before." She was right. Over the past 3 days, Marcus had noticed his senses sharpening, his reaction time improving, small changes that suggested his body was adapting to their bond, just as hers was. "What does this mean for us?" "It means we're becoming something new," Serafina whispered, her lips finding his. The kiss ignited their connection, energy flowing between them in waves of shared pleasure and deepening intimacy. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. "Marcus, I need to tell you something. On my world, when two beings share essence this deeply, this frequently, it creates a permanent bond." "Permanent?" Marcus asked, though the idea didn't frighten him as much as it should have. "Our nervous systems are intertwining," she explained, tracing patterns on his chest. "Eventually, we'll always feel each other, no matter the distance. Always know if the other is in danger, in pain, or," her purple skin flushed deeper violet, "experiencing pleasure." Marcus pulled her closer, feeling the coolness of her skin against his warmth, the perfect balance they created together. "I lost someone I loved once, swore I'd never risk that pain again. But Serafina, what we have, this connection, it's worth any risk." "Show me," she breathed against his ear.
They came together with an intensity that transcended physical joining. Their bioelectric bond amplified every touch, every sensation. Marcus could feel her pleasure as his own, and she experienced his through their shared connection, creating a feedback loop of ecstasy that left them both trembling. In that moment, two species became one. Human and alien merged in perfect harmony. Afterward, lying together beneath the stars, Seraphina suddenly tensed. She said, "They've found us," her enhanced senses detecting what Marcus couldn't yet. "I can feel their approach. At least 20 soldiers, maybe more." Marcus sat up, scanning the darkness. "How long do we have?" "Minutes," she said, her purple skin beginning to glow with renewed energy. "Marcus, we need to make a choice. We can keep running, always hiding, or we stand our ground," Marcus finished, understanding flowing through their bond. "Show them that what we have isn't a threat, but a bridge between species." Seraphina smiled, fierce and beautiful. "I was hoping you'd say that, because the transformation isn't complete yet. With your help, I think I can demonstrate something neither humans nor my people have seen before. True adaptive evolution." "What do you need?" Marcus asked. "Everything you can give," she said, taking both his hands. "One more transfer, deeper than before, enough to complete the cellular restructuring. It might hurt." "I trust you," Marcus said simply. Their connection opened fully, bioelectric energy pouring from Marcus into Seraphina in a torrent. He gasped at the intensity, but didn't pull away. Through their bond, he felt her body transforming, cells reorganizing, new structures forming. She was becoming something unprecedented, a being that could exist in multiple states, drawing energy from sources both human and alien. The soldiers burst into their clearing, weapons raised, but stopped short at the sight before them. Seraphina stood bathed in radiant purple light, her transformation complete. Neither fully alien nor adapted to human patterns, but something magnificent in between. "Stand down," Marcus called out, stepping forward despite the guns trained on him. "What you're seeing is the future, proof that our species can coexist, can even enhance each other." Colonel Hawthorne emerged from the group, his face hard. "Or proof that contamination between species creates something dangerous, unpredictable." "The only danger here is fear," Seraphina said, her voice carrying a resonance that made everyone pause. "I came to your world dying, and this human saved me, not because of orders or duty, but because of compassion. Our bond has made us both stronger, more adaptable. Is that truly something to fear?" Through their connection, Marcus felt Seraphina preparing for whatever came next, ready to fight if necessary, to protect what they'd built together. He stood beside her, their hands finding each other naturally. Two beings united against a world that didn't understand, but also two beings who represented hope for a future neither species had imagined possible. The new beginning. The standoff in the forest clearing stretched for agonizing seconds. Colonel Hawthorne's weapon remained trained on Seraphina, while his soldiers formed a perimeter. But Marcus noticed something unexpected. Several of the younger soldiers looked uncertain, even fascinated by the glowing purple figure before them. "Colonel," a voice crackled through Hawthorne's radio, "this is Director Park from Research. Do not engage. I repeat, do not engage the subjects." Hawthorne's jaw tightened. "Director, the specimen is a security threat." "The specimen is a scientific miracle," Director Park's voice was firm, "and Dr. Chen's research logs have been quite enlightening. Stand down immediately. That's an order." Through their bond, Marcus felt Seraphina's relief mingling with his own. But he knew this was just the beginning. "Colonel, we're not asking to be left alone," Marcus said carefully. "We want to come back, to document what's happened, to prove that human and alien biology can coexist peacefully. You expect us to just welcome you back after you fled with military property? I expect you to recognize a historic opportunity," a new voice called out. Director Park emerged from behind the soldiers, her gray hair pulled back severely, but her eyes bright with scientific curiosity. Dr. Chen, the neural scans you've been transmitting, they're extraordinary. You and Serafina have created a symbiotic bond that's rewriting biological rules. Serafina stepped forward, her purple skin still luminous, but no longer threatening. Director Park, I came to Earth by accident. My ship malfunctioned and crashed. I never intended to be a test subject or a threat. But what Marcus and I have discovered, it could change everything for both our species. Explain, Park said, genuinely interested. My people have been isolated for centuries, dependent on controlled energy transfers within our own species. But through bonding with Marcus, I've evolved. My body can now process multiple energy sources, making me adaptable to environments that would have killed me before. And Marcus, my neural processing has increased by 30%. My immune system is showing enhanced responses. Even my cellular regeneration has improved. The bond isn't parasitic, it's mutualistic. We're both stronger together. Director Park approached slowly, her scanner held out. May I? Serafina nodded, and Park ran detailed scans of them both. Her eyes widened as she reviewed the results. Remarkable! Your cellular structures are complementing each other, human adaptability with alien energy efficiency. This could revolutionize our understanding of evolutionary biology. Or it could be weaponized, Colonel Hawthorne interjected. Enhanced soldiers, modified operatives. You're naive if you think the military won't see the potential. Then we make it available to everyone, Marcus said firmly. Not as a weapon, but as a choice. Humans and Serafina's people, the Azurians, cooperating voluntarily, building bridges instead of walls. Through their bond, Marcus felt Serafina's surge of pride and love. She squeezed his hand. My people are explorers, scientists. We've been searching for compatible species to learn from. Marcus has given me something to bring home, proof that we're not meant to remain isolated. Director Park lowered her scanner, a slow smile spreading across her face. Dr. Chen, I am prepared to offer you full reinstatement, along with a new position, heading our first interspecies research division. You and Serafina would work together, documenting your bond, developing protocols for future human-alien cooperation. And if I refuse, Marcus asked, then you walk away. No charges, no pursuit, Park said, glancing meaningfully at Hawthorne. But you'd be giving up the chance to shape how our species moves forward.